Okay, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Hasselblad 500CM medium format film camera. Alright, let's take a look. Yeah, I'm wearing a hat in this video. Probably because my hairstylist told me that my hair is getting way too long. Hey, what's going on guys? Mike Stetchison here, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Hasselblad 500CM medium format film camera. I'm going to give a brief overview of the different components of this camera, starting with the body, the film back, the lens, as well as the viewfinder. I'm going to show you how to load the film into the Hasselblad 500CM camera, as well as give you some tips on how to shoot with this camera using a mobile app as a light meter. Okay guys, let's go. Okay, so first we have the body. On the body, you'll see we have a winding knob. This is what's going to advance your film and ready the shutter on your camera. So before you attach a film magazine or attach a lens, it's very important to remember that you advance this winding knob. So let's do that right now. So you can see that doing that, we have the mirror ready. We also have our viewfinder. So you'll see right here on the side of your Hasselblad body, there is a little indicator there. You'll either see that indicator as red or white. If it is white, that means that your camera is ready to shoot. If it is red, it means that your camera has not been advanced yet. So make sure that is white before you attach a lens or a magazine. On the top of your Hasselblad, you have your viewfinder screen. So this is what you attach your waist level or eye level viewfinder to, and this is how you're able to see what you are shooting. On the front of our Hasselblad, we have the shutter release button right here, and we have the button for the lens mounting. On the back of your Hasselblad body, you have these barn doors. These doors open up and expose your film every time you release the shutter. So if I push the shutter release button on the front, the doors open. As soon as I release the shutter, the doors close. Next, we have the film back. So this is where you put the film into the Hasselblad 500CM camera. The Hasselblad shoots on 120 film and can be inserted into the back of this film magazine. As you can see on the film back, it is a 6x6 square, meaning that using 120mm film, this will shoot 12 images. On the side of this magazine, we have a cranking knob. This is used to advance the film and get it ready for shooting, but also to wind the film when you are taking the film out. You'll also see that on the side, we have two indicators. The little dot is used to indicate whether or not your film is ready to shoot, a white dot or a red dot. This film counter goes from 1 to 12, 1 being the first frame that you were shooting on and 12 being the last frame that you were shooting on. On the other side of the magazine, we have this locking mechanism. So using this little handle right here, this is what you would use to open and close your film magazine to load and unload your film. Also, you'll notice that on this magazine, we have this little red bar right here. This is an indicator that tells you how much of your film that you have and have not used yet. As you can see, it's all red, meaning that there's no film loaded in this magazine yet. If the film is loaded, you would see that this entire bar right here would be white. Also on the side of your Hasselblad, we have the dark slide. This dark slide is used to protect your film from being exposed when your film back is detached from the Hasselblad body. It is very important to remember that before you start shooting that you remove this dark slide from your film back. And finally, on the top of the magazine, we have the release button. It's highly recommended when you're attaching a magazine to the back of your Hasselblad to push this button to the right and then attach it to your Hasselblad like so. If you didn't know this already, the shutter is actually in the lens of the camera rather than the Hasselblad body itself. When attaching a lens, it's very important to know that the shutter is cocked on the lens before attaching it to the camera. It's very important to know that before attaching the lens to your Hasselblad camera, that the Hasselblad has been advanced and ready to shoot, and the shutter on the lens has also been advanced and ready to go. You should see the white indicator on the Hasselblad bodies, both white, and that this little screw knob on the back of the lens is horizontal. To attach the lens, make sure that the red dots on the top of the lenses are aligned, and you'll hear a click noise like so. And now we're going to take a look at the waist level viewfinder. There are so many viewfinders that you can attach to this Hasselblad, but I prefer the waist level viewfinder. It gives it that really traditional camera look. In order to attach the viewfinder, it's very important to make sure that the film back has been detached from your camera. And then you'll be able to slide this guy right into the grooves of the Hasselblad body. You'll hear a little click. And then again, you can attach the film back to the back of your Hasselblad. Be very careful not to let it slam. Perfect. Now that the Hasselblad's been assembled, we can load it with film. So in order to load this guy with film, first of all, we need to open the film mag. So let's flip this guy around. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna lift up this little tab. We're gonna turn it, and we're gonna let it pop out. And that is what the inside of a Hasselblad magazine looks like. Let me just flip it around here really quickly. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take this old film spool. We're gonna take this out like that, just by lifting this little tab right here. And like that. I'm just gonna stick it there and there. I'm gonna make sure it's aligned. There we go. So as you can see here, the take-up spool is ready to go. The next thing we're gonna do is load the film. Okay, let's load this guy up. It's very important to remember that when you're taking off this little sticker here that keeps the film together, that you take off every little bit of sticker, just to make sure that you don't get anything jammed in the Hasselblad magazine. You really don't want that to happen because your Hasselblad could get ruined. Now that our film is unpacked, we can put it into the film spool. So we'll just pop this guy open like that and place you in. It's very important to make sure that the emulsion paper side is facing outwards. We're going to move it over like so. There's this little tooth at the top here that keeps the film in place. To release that, you just have to turn the knob. That allows you to put the film underneath that tooth. So as you can see, I'm putting my film over the film back, and I'm making sure that it's underneath this little silver tooth right here that keeps it in place. I'm gonna put it around like so. And we have this little cutout right here that sticks right into the tail end of our take-up spool. So just stick that right in there. Here we go. So I put the end of the film in the take-up spool, and then I'm just gonna use this little knob here to wind the film into place. You want to make sure that your film is really tight on top of here, not too tight, but you just want to make sure that's flat enough on top of the film back. As you can see here, we're coming up on this little black arrow. This black arrow is where you're going to align the film with the top red arrow of this film magazine right here. Just want to make sure that the film mag is aligned. Okay, the arrow is aligned. As you can see, it goes up here and it goes with this little red arrow pointing down like this. It means that the film is aligned and ready to go. So we're going to take the magazine. We're going to put it back into our film camera, and then we're going to lock it in place. As you can see right here, we have this little indicator on the side of the magazine. It has gone all white. Earlier it was all red, but now it's all white. That means that we know that there is film in here being used at this very moment. The final step is to make sure that we get this film indicator over here to 1. We want to wind this using the crank knob right here, and we want to wind it until we see a 1. Once we see it at 1, it means that our film is ready to shoot. So let's do that right now. So we're at 1. When you crank the knob, it will stop when it gets to 1. So you don't have to worry about overwinding it by accident. It will stop once you see the indicator at 1. So now that it's at 1, we know that we are ready to shoot our film. So we'll just take this handle here. We can move it backwards. It won't do anything. We can just make sure that we get it back to the alignment so it can just snap back like that. Look at that. We're good to go. So to start shooting, the first thing you want to do is remove your dark slide. Next, we want to open our viewfinder. As you can see here, the viewfinder, we can look right down. If you want to use a magnifier, all you have to do is flip that switch on the front, And as you can see, a little magnifier popped up right here. It means that you can take a closer look at what you're shooting. You can easily just pop down just by pushing it in like that. And that is how you set up a Hasselblad 500CM film camera. Now that you've assembled a Hasselblad 500CM, you're probably wondering, how do I shoot this thing? As I mentioned, the shutter is actually on the lens of the camera. So if you want to input the shutter speed and the aperture settings, you have to use the lens. So since there's no built-in light meter into the Hasselblad 500CM, I actually use a mobile app called Pocket Light Meter. The light meter app is actually really easy to use. The first thing you want to do is input the film ISO into the ISO section, then choose either your shutter speed or your aperture settings, and the light meter app will take it from there. Okay guys, that's my overview of the Hasselblad 500CM medium format camera. If you guys are interested in staying up to date on all of my recent videos, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that little notification bell to stay up to date on all the videos I will be posting in the future. Later, creators.